Well, it's a story that won't go away, and for good reason, I guess. Last week's announcement, this is almost a week ago now, right, that
Mm-hmm.
the provincial government, the CAC, announced that, look, if you want to come to Quebec and study in an English university and you're coming from out of town, out of province, or anywhere else in the world for that matter, you're not paying enough. We're going to charge you a whole lot more. And we heard from McGill, we've heard from Concordia, and we're about to hear from Bishop saying, you know what, this could be, and certainly in the case of Bishop's, as a smaller university, this could be catastrophic. Their words, not mine. So let's find out a bit more. Sébastien Lebel-Grenier is Bishop's University Principal and Vice-Chancellor and is on the line right now. Thank you for being here this afternoon.
So good of you to have me on the show.
I use the word catastrophic because that's the word I believed you used in calling the Quebec government's decision a major, major problem. So can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So it stands to be catastrophic for us if it is applied as it was announced because roughly 30% of our students are Canadian out-of-province students, and these are the students that will be most affected. These students at present pay 3 times the tuition for Quebec students. They pay $9,000, and that compares roughly to the national average tuition in Canada, which sits a bit under $9,000. Now, what the government is proposing is to hike that to $17,000 per student. And if you take into account specifically the students that come to Bishop's, where they come and do mostly undergraduate programs, that would compare to fees that range from around $3,000 to $11,000 elsewhere in Canada for undergraduate programs that these students can take at Bishop's. So basically, you're pricing these students out of coming at Bishop's, and therefore we expect that if the measures are implemented, we will be losing the vast majority of our Canadian out-of-province students. And that's going to be, that would have a catastrophic impact on our institution.
I would ask what catastrophic means at that point. Are we talking about, and I've heard people suggest this, that if this plays out the way you're suggesting and that enrollment basically falls off completely, is that the end of Bishop's?
Well, I certainly hope not. It could be that if there's if the government doesn't really take into account our specific situation and the impact this measure will have on us. We stand to be the most affected university by far. We're a small university, regional university in the Eastern Townships. So this could make it difficult for us to carry on as a university. Now, the minister has publicly stated that she's sensitive to our situation and that she does not want Bishop's to close. She has stated that the government will support Bishop's. I'm very happy to hear that, but we have not heard any specific measures that would alleviate the effects of this policy, which are absolutely fundamental to our institution.
So we know that the universities were not consulted about this. The government just made the decision. It came out of the blue. You guys found out about it basically when the rest of us found out about it. You said there that the Pascal Dary, the minister, has made statements, but have you heard from anyone personally? Have there been any reassurances or has anyone reached out at all?
Well, I've got to be truthful here. Minister Derry has been talking with me on an almost daily basis.
Oh, good.
She's calling, and I'm happy to keep the conversation going with her. But what she's told me privately is the same she's been telling the media. So I as of yet, have no specific idea as to what measures she is proposing and how these measures will alleviate the catastrophic potential impact of the measures that have been announced by government.
Is there a possibility, it's an odd word to use, to form a common front here with Concordia and McGill, because it does affect all three of you?
Well, I think ultimately on the foundations of this decision, we're on the same page. I mean, this decision is bad for Quebec. It's bad for Quebec universities that are essential to the Anglophone communities of Quebec, but also essential to the whole of Quebec society, and essential as well for our continued importance in the worlds of research and education worldwide. So our reach is going to be affected by this measure. I think it's wrong for Quebec. It's going to be detrimental to our province. and it stands to be destructive to at least to bishops as an institution.
Right. We've heard that the motivation behind this, they've stated very clearly, is because there's too much English being spoken in Montreal. We certainly haven't heard any complaints that there's been too much English in the streets of Lennoxville. And I know you've called this a Montreal problem. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Do you think somehow bishops might be able to be exempt from this?
Yeah, well, I want to point out, be very clear that this is a whole problem for Quebec as a whole. Of course, as it relates to bishops, it's something that stands to be destructive for our institution. And indeed, I have never heard anyone complain that bishops is a threat to the vitality of the French language in Quebec or in the Eastern Townships. Indeed, people in the community, in the Francophone community of the Eastern Townships, are standing up and saying loud and clear that bishops is really an essential part of the region's identity. And so bishops is not a threat. Bishops has been around for 180 years and is really a vital part of our communities. So certainly, if the logic is that English language institutions are a threat to the vitality of the French language, no one would be pursuing that type of argument here in the Eastern Townships.
So I know the mayor of Sherbrooke came out yesterday and suggested the same thing, that this would, be a terrible thing for the city, which is good to know, because I guess the more people standing up and saying this, the better. I wonder, though, if you don't mind me asking, so as a French Canadian, and there has been reaction in the French press, something we typically don't see when there are Anglo issues involved, condemning this decision. It's been, I want to say, pretty uniform. What's your reaction as a French Canadian, as a French Quebecer, to hearing the Premier of the province say that, the basic motive here, if we can rule out the financial part, and I think we've pretty much done that, is because he's hearing too much English on the street?
How can I say? I'm the fact that I was nominated as principal of Bishop's University, a historical Anglophone institution, and I'm a Francophone, I think speaks loud and clear about what this community is about. It's an inclusive community, a welcoming community that does not segregate based on language. I am so disappointed of the impact that this announcement will have. I've been getting a lot of feedback from distraught alumni that come from all across Canada and distraught community members. It's hard for them to believe that this is the position that is being defended. So while as a university, and I think I can speak for the 3 English language universities, we absolutely think that the French language vitality is essential to the prosperity of Quebec. We feel that there must be measures to support and promote the French language, and we see ourselves as partners in that endeavor. But the French language will not be stronger if we destroy the Anglophone institutions.
I mean, we've certainly heard that this is a reaction from François Legault after having lost the Jean Talon by-election. Do you feel like you're being used per se as political? I can't think of the right word that I want to use, but just like to gain some political clout?
It's very hard for me to speculate. I sure hope that's not the case. I think Quebec is now a much more mature society, and I think certainly as it relates to bishops, people understand that we're a threat to no one. We're really an advantage to our region. We're a benefit to Quebec, and we bring a real service to our communities. So I would be disappointed if that is the case. It seems hard for me to believe that would be the motivation.
Mr. Grenier, we very much appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and fingers crossed that someone sort of wakes up and decides this was a bad decision and it will not get implemented, at least not in the form it's in right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.